all you geeks and, well, geeks, and Marvel fans. We are here with a brand new episode of Let's Talk, where we are going to discuss a big event or announcement that happened in the geek world. You probably heard, because it was literally everywhere a few days ago, that Disney, Marvel Entertainment, and Sony Pictures came to a agreement, and they are now sharing the rights to Spider-Man, which means that Spider-Man is now officially part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and this is a really big deal for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, for Spider-Man, and for comic book movies sort of overall, especially entering Stage 3, but it also meant some not-so-great things. So I am here, as well as my associate editors, Kait Calabro and Monica Peluso, to talk about the pros and cons of Spider-Man joining the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Say hi, guys! Anyway, so what do we know so far? I think that's the big thing, is there's a lot of confusion, but it's sort of been ironing itself out over the last few days. So we know that Spider-Man is now shared property, and we know that he's going to be appearing definitely in Captain America Civil War, which comes out next year.
Comes out May 2016.
May 2016. I can't wait for another Captain America movie. It's gonna be less Captain America-y because there would be more heroes, but that's okay.
It's like pretty much half Avengers.
It's it's sort of like half Avengers. Yeah. Half Avengers plus Spider-Man.
At this point.
And then we also know that Spider-Man's getting his own MCU movie reboot, maybe. They haven't really released any sort of details about what their plans are, whether they're rebooting it entirely or continuing the Amazing Spider-Man stories. Either way, they're most likely recasting Peter Parker, and no longer using Andrew Garfield, which I am sad about because I loved Andrew Garfield, even if other people did not. I don't care if he's too attractive to be Peter Parker. And what else do we know? We know that because of that movie... Yes, all the Marvel heroes are really attractive. And we also know that that movie is going to be pushing the release dates of some of the more interesting, I say more interesting, meaning the more diverse characters that we were really excited about when they announced them. They're not pushing them off, or they're not taking their places too badly, but we're going to have to wait longer for Captain Marvel, basically.
Yeah, so the deal covers, it's a split property between Disney Pictures, Marvel Studios, and then Sony Entertainment Pictures, and the Spider-Man will be part of Captain America Civil War, and then his solo film will take the place of the slated release date for Thor 3, which is November 2017, and the Spider solo film will be split produced by Marvel Studios as well as Sony Entertainment Pictures, who will be the producer from there will be Amy Pascal, who that name might sound familiar to a bunch of people because she was the head of Sony until last week after she resigned after the Sony hack, which is probably what led us to getting Spider-Man.
Yes, we found out actually over the course of the Sony hack that Marvel and Disney and Sony were talking about a possibility of buying Spider-Man back, but that's not in any way surprising because you have to think that with Marvel's success of the last however many years they've been doing this, they've probably been trying to buy back every property they sold off, excepting maybe Namor, who's owned by like Lionsgate or something confusing, from everywhere, because everyone wants to know, like, what are you going to do now that you sold off all your properties? You can't use everything. You can't use mutants. You can't do other things. So I wasn't at all surprised by that. I am surprised the deal actually did go through.
Yes. But it's a good deal for both, well, three studios. It's a good deal for Disney and Marvel. It's a good deal for Sony. So.
Yeah. So Civil War is the first place that we're going to be seeing Spider-Man. And I think a lot of fans, and I think, Monica, you might be able to speak to this a little better, are excited that Spider-Man's joining Civil War because he was a big part of that story.
He's a big part of the Avengers, first of all. Like,
true.
He's a big part.
I don't know that much about Spider-Man's role. I don't know that much about the Marvel Universe in the comic books, to be completely honest. But so how big is Spider-Man in the role of the Avengers?
I mean, that team has been shaken up a lot, obviously, especially now we have the news about the all-female Avengers. but he was like, God, I can't. He's a pretty huge part of them. So that's why it was like a little weird when the Avengers came out that we weren't seeing Spider-Man in them.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people have been calling for Spider-Man to join the MCU for a long time, specifically because of the Avengers. So I think it'll be interesting. I'm glad they're bringing him on for Civil War because that was the biggest question when they announced Civil War. Was Spider-Man was sort of like the linchpin in, from what I understand about the Civil War story. He was the facing the two different sides. So for those of you who don't know, Civil War, Monica, why don't you tell us about what Civil War was about since you know more about it than I do? I know the Wikipedia entry.
All right, here's the problem. I didn't really read any of the Civil War comics, so still, I only know the basic story is that it's a registration act where the government wants all the heroes to sign up, give all their details so they know about who they really are, everything down to like very tiny, minute detail. And what surprised people about the comic series was that what they thought Captain America would be for, he was the biggest, I guess, soldier against it.
Yeah.
And Iron Man was the one that was like, no, everyone should register, everyone should sign up, get their name down this list. Which is not surprising since Tony Stark's a big, all about the ego and
Yeah, I'm not too
power.
surprised about that since he did announce that he was Iron Man in a press conference, so I don't think he has any problem registering as a superhero.
I agree that in the MCU as we know it, that's not surprising, and I don't think they're gonna expand the Civil War story much beyond the basics of the Superhero Registration Act. And I think it's a really interesting story and very much in line with what they've been doing with Captain America so far, where it's more spy stories than it is like big superhero stories. So it'll be really interesting to see how they play out that storyline. The fact that it's a Captain America movie where probably one of the biggest story arcs is actually going to be Spider-Man's will be weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like,
wait, go ahead.
Are we not getting any Bucky Barnes in Civil War?
I don't know. Like, cause up until
I don't know now.
Up until the point where they announced that Captain America 3 was going to be Captain America Civil War, I think a lot of people thought we would be getting more Bucky Barnes in the new movie. There was also some speculation as to when Steve Rogers would maybe be giving up the mantle of Captain America, possibly passing it on to Bucky or something else. But Sebastian Stan has signed on for 9 movies.
This is true.
So he's coming back.
Yeah, we just don't know when.
We just don't know when. What?
No, okay,
Oh, you're just exclaiming for no reason. Okay. So, anywho, I think the biggest question, one of the biggest questions anyway, for Civil War with Spider-Man in it now is what Spider-Man's story is going to be at this point in time, because he hasn't been part of the MCU. So will they continue the story that we've gotten so far in The Amazing Spider-Man, where we'll be meeting a Peter Parker who's just lost Gwen Stacy? Sorry if you haven't seen Amazing Spider-Man 2. And who was just retaken up the mantle of Spider-Man after spending like a year or whatever it was away from it. Or will we be seeing a whole new Spider-Man? And how are they going to introduce that character if his solo film isn't going to come till after? That's my question.
Personally, I'm hoping that since Sony is like helping to produce it and lending it to Marvel, that they're going to kind of pick up from that storyline. It's going to be weird to blend the story since ones did, web sling. Why can't I talk? Web slinging through New York City. They're all the big names, and no one's going to mention, hey, there's a kid that dresses up like a spider saving people in New York City. Like, he's just going to appear all of a sudden. Yeah. Like, hey, there you've been.
I think there's going to be a lot of retconning if they do decide, and I agree with you, I think they should totally stick with the story they've started, because I think that Peter Parker, where he is in The Amazing Spider-Man, was a good jumping off point for Civil War, for him to be wrestling with that idea of staying silent about who he is or telling people who he is because of what happened with Gwen and what happened with her father and what happened with everything. I mean, he's probably going to have more ghosts now. I think that would be an interesting jumping off point for a story about registering and telling people who you are. But at the same time, I don't know that Marvel wants to do that. They've already said, at least we've heard rumor, that they don't want Andrew Garfield to play the role. They want someone younger. And that was also part of the Sony hack. So I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know who they're going to get. I hope they stick with everything the same, because I like where they were. But we're not going to know for a while, I think. Although not too long, because they're going to have to start shooting soon.
Yeah, it's a 2016 release, so that's not a long time in film.
No, not
They'll
at all.
probably start shooting, I'm going to say,
This summer?
Late June, early July, they're going to have to start filming if they want a May 2016 release.
Yeah. So we will see. The other thing that this is going to affect that I don't know if a lot of people are talking about is Sinister Six. Sony had already set the beginnings of a definite Sinister Six film. They said they were going to do it with Goblin and Rhino and some other characters that I don't know, because I don't know that much about Spider-Man.
Electro.
Thank you, Electro. Other characters. They were going to have Sinister Six appearing in their own standalone film, and no one has commented on what this means for that movie. Since Sony technically is just sort of like leasing Spider-Man to Marvel, they could still, I think, do their own movies. I think. I'm not a lawyer.
I don't know if it's technically leasing the character. From what I'm understanding, I could be completely wrong, is now it's like joint custody. So
right. That doesn't preclude you from doing your own thing with the character.
No, I'm saying they could still maybe, I don't know if they could do something with Spider-Man himself solo Sony, but I'm saying his other characters, like the villains, they could possibly do.
Possibly. So we could possibly still see that Sinister Six movie, but we've also not heard one word about it since they announced it, I don't think.
I'm going to go with probably it's not going to happen.
I don't know.
So don't get your hopes up.
But I want to get my hopes up.
Yeah, but Amazing Spider-Man 2 didn't really pave the way for people to get really excited about it.
Oh, true. I mean, it was sort of like when they walked through the hallway with all of like the suits and stuff, it was like, and this is the sequel room.
And by that point, everyone's just like, I want this movie to fucking end.
Seriously, oh my god, it was venturing into Spider-Man 3 territory at that point, where it was like,
stay here.
Freaking villain. I just want to go away now. I liked Amazing Spider-Man 2. I didn't like it as much as the first one, but I liked it enough that I want them to keep the story going. Did I already mention that I don't want them to buy X-Men back? Because I don't want them to buy X-Men back. I know I mentioned it before the show started, and now I can't remember what I said since the show.
Yeah, you didn't
Thank you, because I cannot remember.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I'm operating on not so much great sleep. One of the other big things that's come out of this announcement is a lot of people are like, oh, so are they going to buy X-Men now? While I think that it would be helpful if they could buy X-Men back, they could use mutants, they could give Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver their real backstories. I like where they've been going so far, the way they've worked around having mutants. I mean, they just introduced Daisy Johnson in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch have a different kind of backstory now, so at this point, I don't know that I see the point. But Fox, I think, is talking about maybe doing a crossover between X-Men and Fantastic Four.
Which makes sense, why not? You know, they own both of them, so.
Yeah. I really want them to do a movie based on Joss Whedon's Astonishing X-Men series, because that was really good, and I just recently read it. So now I want that to be a movie.
Who knows?
Fantastic Four in that. So, anywho, other than that, the only big fallout is going to be the moving of the release dates, which is too bad, but it's not taking the place of anything, so. I don't know.
Yeah, we're just not going to get a Captain Marvel for a couple, I think till 2018 now. So basically what's happening is the Spider-Man solo film will be taking the place of Thor 3, which was set to be released in the summer of 2017. So now that will be moved to November, which was Black Panther's spot. So now Black Panther's spot will be moved to July 2018, which was Captain Marvel's spot. So now Captain Marvel will be moved to November 2018, which is a whole new spot. That's not taking anyone's spot.
Now, Black Panther is actually appearing for the first time in Civil War, so presumably he's still doing that. We don't really know, but I'm assuming he's still doing that. Which means that we're going to get introduced to Black Panther, and then we're going to have to wait 2 years for his actual movie to come out.
Yes. And then Marvel wanted to make it clear that even though 3 of the other films have been pushed, Avengers Infinity War Part 1 and 2 will not be affected.
Yeah. So, but now Captain Marvel is going to be premiering in the middle of those films. We're going to have Infinity War 1, Captain Marvel, and then Infinity War 2.
Yeah, so it's going to go Infinity War 1 comes out May 2018, Captain Marvel November, and then Infinity War Part 2 will come out May 2019.
Yes.
Oh my god.
So, yeah.
There are so many movies coming out.
We got like 4 years, 4-year plan here.
We got like a 4-year plan here. We got it for DC too, but we're specifically talking about Marvel right now. I gotta not talk about DC.
And I don't even think Inhumans got a release date yet.
I don't think it did either, but I honestly don't remember. And they're going to have to do Inhumans pretty soon because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is getting really into the Inhumans storyline.
Yeah, well, they're... Yeah, okay.
What? Do we have something coming out? What?
Does anyone really care about that show?
I do. I like it.
Oh God, I can't watch that show.
After Hydra blew up, they needed something else. I guess they're...
No, I like what they're doing with the Inhumans, and I like what they're doing with Skye's character. I like that show. Leave me alone. Anyway, as the only one who cares about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I want them to do more with Inhumans, because Kait and I also want a Ms. Marvel show, which I think will be good.
Yeah, that would be a great series.
Yes, and it would require them to do more with Inhumans. So we will see. Do we have a film coming out in November of next year?
Oh, I don't think the next Marvel film comes out until Captain America.
Okay, and Guardians comes out...
Besides Avengers comes out, this May. And then I don't think...
Ant-Man comes out in July, which I'm so excited for, and I do not know why.
And then I don't think and then I think Civil War's next.
Okay.
Unless Guardians 2, does that fit in somewhere?
It's in May of something. Let me find out. Do we have any other concerns beyond trying to figure out what movie comes out when?
No. I think Guardians comes out over the summer because May's a Captain. They usually like to release the same series within the same month, so like Captain's always been released in May.
Guardians of the Galaxy, May 5th, 2017.
Okay. So
that will come out, and Doctor Strange is going to be November of 2016. We do have a November.
Oh, okay.
Inhumans looks like November of 2018.
But we don't have a November this year.
November of 2015?
Yeah, because Ant-Man comes out in August.
No, but we're also, I think this is sort of them taking a breather between phases 2 and 3 because Age of Ultron ends phase 2.
Yes.
And then Civil War starts phase 3. So we will be seeing, I think, some animosity toward the end of the next Avengers film, and then we'll be launching into Civil War with Spider-Man. And I think there's going to be a lot of announcements. I think this is going to be a really weird and interesting San Diego Comic-Con in July.
Yeah, because we're going to have to get, speaking of Marvel, there's discussions of what female director will be directing Captain Marvel. There's rumors that Angelina Jolie was
in talks to do that, yeah.
Was in talks to direct Captain Marvel, and we still need a Captain Marvel to be casted. So I'm assuming we will be getting that information over the summer, possibly at Comic-Con, if not sooner.
Yeah, we'll see. I think that's sort of the mode that we're in right now is very much we'll see because throwing Spider-Man in definitely throws a big rock in the pond that was Phase 3.
Yes.
But before then, I have other things to be excited about in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is the last 2 episodes of Agent Carter, the rest of Season 2 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you losers who don't like that show, and Ant-Man.
Yes, Ant-Man.
Ant-Man. I don't know why I'm so excited about that movie. I just am.
I don't know. I don't know why either.
I don't know. All right, so I think that does it for us here for this episode of Let's Talk. Do you guys have anything else you wanted to bring up before we shut it down?
No.
Last chance. Last chance. Okay, then that's going to be it. Thank you guys for joining us for this episode of Let's Talk. Of course, you can watch it on the All Geek to Me YouTube channel, youtube.com/user/allgeektometv. All Geek to Me TV, in case you didn't hear that when I spoke so fast. And of course, you can also catch all of your geeky updates, including any and all MCU announcements from here to eternity on allgeektome.net. Follow us on Twitter at allgeektomenet. Me, I'm at Tricia Ennis. Kait is at Kait Calabro. Monica is at Story in the End. And we will see you next time. So long. Thanks for joining us.
See you.